Here to share a handy tool to protect our mental space and more. We welcome back the author of All the Things I Wish I Knew, Master Life Coach Sarah Centrella. Great to have you with us again.
So good to see you, Helen.
You look fabulous.
Thank you, ditto.
Let's talk about the bubble technique to keep away that negative energy.
Yeah, so this is such a big one if you're dealing with someone that you know can kind of trigger you. I have, for instance, a client right now who has a boss that is, that definitely gets under his skin and,
right,
and can kind of be toxic or triggering. So imagine this, you're in this huge bubble. They have these big giant plastic bubbles that you can roll around in and play in and all this stuff, right? So imagine you're in there, and inside there is all the work that you do to identify who you want to be. So I call them like mottos, I am statements, and you're filling yourself up. You're essentially kind of protecting yourself. You're saying, no one has the power to affect my energy unless I let them.
Right.
I'm going to have a great day. I'm not going to let anyone get under my skin. They don't, they can't get to me. So I'm really like filling up that space with how I want to feel and how I want to show up. And so when you do interact with someone, it's kind of like a pre, if you have to go to work and interact with this person, or open the email or get the text message, even if it's 5 seconds, you're imagining you're in this bubble. In that bubble is your protected mindset, the work that you've done to kind of build yourself up. And then when you do interact with them, you're kind of seeing them outside that space, right? You're able to kind of disconnect emotionally from what they're saying. So you're not absorbing it. If they're saying something negative to you or maybe toxic to you, you can kind of say, well, I appreciate your opinion.
Yeah.
Have a nice day, right?
Yeah.
And so it's no longer something that you're really internalizing and making part of who you are. And I always think of it as little pieces of paper that are coming to the outside of the bubble, and you read it and you're like, I'm good. Yeah. Off it goes.
Why do we need that?
I think, in the day and age that we're living in right now, there's a lot of toxicity, I think, just in general. And so if you can learn how to control your own emotions and not let external factors send you on a roller coaster where you're just, emotionally getting dragged all day long.
Right.
And especially if there's someone in your immediate world that does kind of have that effect on you, whether it's a boss or a coworker or even a family member.
Yeah.
You kind of need to be proactive about how I protect my mental health, how I protect my energy, so that all of these aren't like punctures to your bubble. I always say, like, if you had worked that hard and inside that bubble is the work that you've done for yourself, you wouldn't let someone come up with like a steak knife and stab your bubble, right? You're protective of it. And so that's kind of the same way you can think about it mentally. And if you get into that just quick little visualization, even a couple seconds before you're interacting, it's crazy how much protection it really does give you.
How did you come up with that? Like, was it a situation you were dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, all of my coaching comes from my own personal experience, for sure. And I had to learn, I've definitely had the toxic bosses in the past. Definitely dealt with some family stuff. So I had to get to a place where I could interact with the person who would normally trigger me, but not be triggered, not have it ruin my day. And that was the biggest thing. As a single mom, you can't be like having someone just pull your energy buttons all day long. You have to save that. So
it gives you power, doesn't it?
It's so empowering. It is so empowering. So I feel like if you have a tool that you can use that works for you, and by the way, you get better and better at it every time you use it. But if you have a tool like that, you feel amazing. You're like, wow, that used to really spiral me.
Right. Now you can just blow it off.
Yeah, now it has almost no impact on me.
You have control over your own feelings. The negativity is gone.
It's incredible. It really does give you a lot of power.
And you talked too about it, your emotional set point.
Yeah, so a lot of people have an emotional set point that is easily triggered. Like maybe it's an anger set point, it's an overwhelmed set point. Like whatever your state is kind of when you wake up in the morning. Maybe it's frustration or stress, anxiety, things like that. So if you can kind of notice that about yourself, say, hey, it's been a week and I've been waking up this way, then that's something that is very specific that you can start to work on, and you can start to change that by using things like very simple things like mottos and I am statements. Like, I feel good. Instead of being overwhelmed, I am capable. I'm able. I'm going to have a great day. So just talk back to yourself. Otherwise, your internal dialogue can really kind of pull you under sometimes.
And the biggest one is like you're making progress. This is not,
Absolutely.
you can't be perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, you're never going to be perfect. So that is not our goal. Our goal is not to be like an emotional robot where, you know, no one is having an emotional impact on us. But what it is so that I'm not riding the roller coaster all the time. And there's so many situations that happen throughout the day that if I had a little bit more control and knew I did, I can choose to have a better day regardless of kind of what's happening. So for me, that's kind of the goal. When I have a bad day and I really need to feel it, I allow that. But otherwise, I want to level out some of these things that just don't need to wreck my day. All
good points. Thank you so much, Sarah. We want to tell everyone again, the book is titled All the Things I Wish I Knew. Sarah Centrella, thank you so much.
Thanks, Helen.